very important projects to you right now, and each of them keys on a very specific relationship. I mean, the whole film is important, but if that kind of like key relationship at its core doesn't work, the film doesn't work, right?
Yeah.
So did you screen test with Miles in this case to give me a sense of sort of when you knew and how you knew that this was going to work?
It's funny, this project was around for 3 years. I read the script 3 years ago and fell in love with it. It was one of the best scripts I've ever read. And other people were attached and then they fell out, and then more people were attached and then they fell out, and the whole time I was like, please just let me be a small role in this movie, it's so good. And then when I finally got the role, James and I, the director, we were throwing names around to each other, like, what about this guy? What about this guy? Oh, he's a great actor, or this guy's really attractive, or what are we looking for in a setter? And we couldn't find anyone that we thought would be believably charismatic without having to act in a certain manner.
Right.
And I'll never forget it. I was on vacation and James called me and he's like, what about Miles Teller? And the only reference I had to him was Rabbit Hole. It felt right. It was just one of those moments where you instinctually know it has to be this person. And so I met Miles a week later. James, Miles, and I all went to lunch. And I was expecting him to be like this quiet little introverted guy like he was in the movie, and he was not. If you know Miles Teller at all, he is the opposite of that. And we just naturally hit it off.
You guys are, I was saying the same thing to Miles when he was sitting down here. You guys are very different human beings. And we're all different, obviously. But
I mean,
night
we're
and
like,
day,
we're like opposite sides of the spectrum, which is why we piss each other off and love each other so intensely.
That's what I was going to say. So, like, how do you piss each other off, you think? Do you think it's just sort of like, because
we don't actually piss each other off.
But like you do, I feel like what you do for fun is different, how you relax, what you're interested in, your temperaments, it's like, it's all different, right?
Yeah. I think we help each other though. He, helps me, I think, have more fun when I can get caught up in being serious.
Right.
And I think I help him ground himself in a way that's more natural than perhaps some of his other choices. But I mean, just like common example, like when we're filming, he'd be like, Shay, you have awful tabooly onion breath. And he'd be like, Miles, you have disgusting Gatorade licorice nerd's breath. And so that's like our common little,
that pretty much sums it up, I think, right there.
It's the perfect example. It's a perfect example.
When you think back to this shoot, which I would think is, it's an independent film, it was probably relatively short. You probably had to just do a lot in a short amount of time. What's the scene or two that you think of with fondness or anxiety or?
The sex scene.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
So what? So does it get any less painful to think about now, or what do you look back on it?
No, it's
with?
my favorite scene in the whole movie. It was both. It sounds so funny to say that, but it really is. I can't think of one single lovemaking scene in any film that I've ever been like, yeah, that's real, or that could actually happen that way.
Right.
It's just never happened in my personal life, so I can't relate. But this movie is so genuinely sweet and vulnerable and sensitive, and that scene was it was a nice way for both of us to sort of lose our on-screen virginities, because it was a very safe environment and we felt very cared for, and everybody was really compassionate towards our needs and to make it not feel exposed or exploitive in any way.